Two Babies in a Business, a podcast about business, marketing, growth strategy, clients, babies, marriage, something else probably. I'm Christina. This is Peter Pilarski, my husband, the other half of the CIPR founder and leadership team. And we are continuing our conversation about marketing strategy.
Hey, everybody. What are we talking about today, Christina?
We are talking about value propositions. So just a quick recap. We obviously talked about business goals. We talked about the SWOT analysis and why it's important. We talked about personas, and we've talked about actually setting marketing goals related to your business goals, of course. And now it's all about that value proposition. In true Christina fashion, I have a definition if you'd like me to share it.
Please do.
Okay. A value proposition refers to the value, a company promises to deliver to customers should they choose to buy their product. A value proposition can be presented as a business or marketing statement that a company uses to summarize why customers should buy a product or use a service. And I actually did a tiny bit of homework, if you believe it, for this particular podcast, looking at different kind of company value propositions. Because I think often people don't, right? When you don't know what something means as a part of a marketing strategy, you glaze over it, or you don't necessarily buy into the importance of it. So I'm going to share some throughout the podcast, but I wanted to start with Uber.
Uber
is a good one.
Okay.
So Uber's value proposition is that they are the smartest way to get around.
I like it. It is a smart way to get around. That resonates with me.
That's good.
I think that's, as I think about value propositions, when we were talking about the topic, one of the things that I kind of wrote down in my notes is that, there's a lot of things that companies think they do really well and that are really cool and great and all that kind of stuff. But I think the most important part of a value proposition, which I like Uber's, is that it needs to mean something to your clients. It's not really necessarily, yes, you do a lot of cool things and you're great and your company's awesome, but like, what are those things that you do that are really unique? And I personally actually like calling it a unique selling proposition. But anyways, what are those? What's your secret sauce? But what's your secret sauce from the perspective of like what your client cares about, right? So I'm going to jump in on a couple comments and thoughts here, in the sense that like we're actually doing a poll right now, as I mentioned in our last episode, of our marketing persona, just to understand a little bit better what their pain points are. And one of the things that sort of seems to be coming up quite consistently is a lack of data and clear understanding about what what results that marketing initiatives and activities generate. And so really it's all about the reporting, and really all about the how you measure results. And so just, thinking about that, it's really interesting because it's a very consistent thing, which doesn't surprise me, because a lot of marketing companies, I think, aren't that great at the data part of things, or at least not all of them are. And so, it's like, for us, as I think about that, it's like, that's something we've invested, literally the last quarter, we've been investing an insane amount of time into. How can we make reports and data and analytics and, how can we make reporting central to everything we do, and really front and center? And how can we make reports that mean something to our end clients in terms of like ROI and the investment they're making and what it sort of is resulting in, right? We've been really working hard at that, and I'm pretty excited to be rolling it out. But it's interesting because that's obviously a key missing point. And I think, as we think about that and we're working on that, now we need to think about how we incorporate that into our sales and our marketing language and communication, right? Because obviously it's a major pain point for a lot of people. So how do we communicate to people that, this is something that we're really good at, and that's something you can expect from us, that's unique, right?
I love thinking about a value proposition as secret sauce, like you said, because I think, not that we've struggled with our secret sauce, but I think we've struggled to articulate it. I mean, even if you did my little cheat sheet that I have open here, like Uber, there's lots of competition, right? Like Lyft, whatever, all of those ones getting into the market. And they all do the same thing and they all operate the same way. But that value proposition of like, no, we're the smartest way to get around. And you know, the features that they might have that differ even just a little bit from the competition or those pieces. And I think about us as a marketing agency, and it's like, yeah, like lots of people do what we do, but there are certain things that we know that are different. We know our, like you said, our secret sauce, and it's just articulating that in the right way. And I think even just working with clients where it's nice when you have an agency come in with a fresh perspective, because I think when it's your own business, I think Canadians especially are often very humble about what they think they do and don't do. And I think that external set of eyes often lets you go like, no, like you are the smartest way to get around, if it was in the case of Uber. And I just think that a marketing agency, ask them, like as a marketing, you know, your marketing tip of the podcast is like, put it on that agency, like make them do some homework. Like, what do you think our value proposition could be or should be? And those fresh eyes should be able to like shine that, illuminate it for your business, I think.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny that you mentioned Uber, because for those who don't know, I grew up really in my dad's business, which was largely working in the taxi industry. My dad had a mechanical auto body shop and he owned a bunch of taxis and stuff. And when Uber came in, I was talking to my dad about it, and I had already had a couple Uber experiences, and my dad was like, that'll never work. There's no trust. People use taxis because they trust the driver and they trust this. And I said, actually, it's like actually completely the opposite of what you're saying, because with Uber, I can see the driver, I can see his experience, I can see it's way smarter and it's way safer, and it makes me feel way more secure. Now I don't have to worry about payment. So anyways, it just like makes complete and total sense to me as a consumer. So obviously like they know what their secret sauce is and they've sort of nailed it.
It's true. I want to share a couple other ones because I think when we talk about value proposition, those examples are so important. So I have no idea what this company is. It's called Less Accounting, LESS Accounting. And their value proposition is simply bookkeeping without the hassle.
I like it.
And so again, like to that point of lots of people do bookkeeping, but obviously they know their target market. We have a fantastic bookkeeper, shout out to Adita, but like this speaks to me because like to me as a business owner, bookkeeping was like the bane of my existence for many years.
Lots of hassle.
So it's like, oh, without the like that speaks, like that's smart. So they've like thought about their target persona. Obviously they're saying what they do, and you've piqued interest. It's like, I've never heard of this, but like this is interesting to me.
But they're directly touching on the pain point, right? And same thing with Uber. It's like, how many times have you sat there trying to phone taxis and being like, this is stupid, I'm never going to get home?
True.
You know, it's smart is like just like putting in an app and knowing when your ride's going to arrive. That's smart, right?
Do you remember that time we were in Edmonton for it was like a Christmas party when you were working for Merit, and it was like a complete blizzard, and trying to get home, calling a taxi.
Stupid.
Uber had not made it to Edmonton yet. We're like in the middle of nowhere, Edmonton. I'm in like a dress and pantyhose and high heels.
Yeah.
Total Edmonton snowstorm. Anyways, side note, but
stupid. Uber, smart.
Smart. Okay, I want to share another one that will resonate in terms of marketing. Crazy Egg, which is something that we've used before. So Crazy Egg, their value proposition, website behavior tracking at an unbeatable price. So, I mean, I like this one because I think as a marketing agency, Crazy Egg is something we've used, something that our clients use, but like often we're actually doing this right now. It's the end of the year. So we go through all of our expenses and the tools we're using. We do a deep dive. Where can we save money? What can we get rid of? And like these tools add up fast. Like all of those things, they add up so quickly. So like this to me speaks to me from an agency perspective of like, oh, okay, price is good. Let's check it out.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And again, it sort of directly speaks to a pain point, or it directly addresses a barrier. What do you call it? Like a barrier to purchase, right? Immediately. Yeah.
Okay, I have one more to share. There's so many good ones here. I'm going to actually do Slack. Slack is something that we don't use. I have strong feelings about Slack, but that's a whole other episode. That's like, go back to the Asana episode. But Slack, be more productive at work with less effort. I find that one interesting too.
No, I think you would find Slack to be a lot of effort, but that's a whole different thing. That's probably a you thing, not a Slack thing more than anything.
But I know, I'm just like, I am so biased in my tools and stubborn. But like, I think
you are stubborn. You're very stubborn.
Thank you. Continue. But what I will say about like that piece is like, your value proposition shouldn't be something that can be challenged. Right? So it's like, I have obviously had experiences with this tool that like I have found challenging, and mostly because I'm stubborn and it's probably a user perspective, but like also like in your value proposition, don't try to be something you're not.
Yes.
And I think that for CIPR, like we have, again, not struggled with this, but it's really forced us to define ourselves. When we think about location based, okay, are we talk about this all the time, are we Western Canadian, are we Canadian, are we more than that, are we less, are we like what is that piece? But I think that like that value proposition to me, and maybe challenge this, to me, like it is what it is. It's not this like aspirational statement. It's like it is what it is.
Yeah, it's not a vision statement, right?
Yeah.
It's more of like that almost sounds like what you're reading to me is more like that marketing tagline, right? Like it's almost like that sort of tagline as to like, this is who we are, right? Whereas the visioning statement's much more about the future state and where you want to go and who you want to be and all that kind of fun stuff, right? So yeah, so that actually gets me wondering and asking the question is, should your unique value proposition or your selling proposition be something that's front and center and something that is in your marketing materials? Should that be your marketing tagline? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that it should be able to be. And maybe in our next episode we can get into that. But I hope that this has given people some insights into what a value proposition actually is, some examples, some real life experiences from us. But it's not something you should glaze over, but it's almost that promise.
Yeah. And what's interesting, I'll say about this final thought here is probably for CIPR, this is one of the things we've struggled with most, to be honest with you, because we do a lot of different things and we serve various clients and so it's sort of like hard to encompass one statement, everything in one statement. And I'm not sure we're quite there yet, although it's actually something I'm actively working on right now. We actually have a meeting with our coach where I'm going to be, this is actually kind of like, it's funny because we're working on a framework and we're working on our vision and mission. And then in between our framework and our vision and our mission, there's these statements that I feel like need to be there. And it's almost like our value proposition, right? Our vision is this. Our framework and how we do it, the tactical is down here, and our value proposition fits right in the middle. And I see that as really our homepage and how we communicate what we do for our clients. That's really our promise, right? So yeah, interesting.
Well, there you go. I'm glad that I was able to give you this insight.
Well, thank you so much.
3, 2, 1.